Hi, and welcome to this edition of the Bobcat Buzz podcast, where we talk about the buzz at Frontier Community College. I'm Derek Dunn, your host, and we thank you for watching this podcast. And this is where we talk about the buzz at FCC. And I'm glad to have this person here with me. My guest today is Nixie Hnetkovsky. Nixie is our Life Science Associate Professor, serves as Athletic Director as well for our Bobcat Athletics. She also coaches the Bobcats volleyball team and has been doing that for the past several years. And how long has it been since you've been coaching volleyball?
4 years.
4 years. Okay, I was guessing 6. But anyway, I refer to Nixie as coach as well. So Nixie, thanks for joining me here.
Glad to be here.
So we're going to be talking about one of the coolest and one of the most innovative things here, and that is if I butcher the pronunciation of this, then so be it, but the Anatomage. Is that right?
Anatomage.
Anatomage.
Like anatomy, anatomage.
Okay, you said it better than me. So, but we're going to be talking about what it is. It's the human cadaver machine. And by the way, during this podcast, we're going to be showing you some pictures, some video clips of this in action. So it's very impressive. So my first question is, how long has this been on campus?
We have had this for about a year. We got it around December of last year of 21.
Okay.
And so we've had it a little over a year, and it's just been a real boost to our instruction in the classroom.
So after it arrived, and you see this thing, it's huge and it's heavy. Was there anything challenging in learning how to operate it, set it up?
Surprisingly, it is really easy to operate. I usually am a little slow on the uptake for technology and learning how to use different softwares, but Anatomage put out a really good set of instructions. Everything's built into the table. It's basically a large computer that you work with, and so far I haven't torn anything up. So, but it's been very easy to use. Probably the biggest deterrent on our side is just finding the time to get into all the good stuff that it offers. So,
and that's actually a good problem to have in a way, because that way there's all kinds of features, there's all kinds of options, and so that takes time to kind of dig around and get a feel for it.
Well, one of the things that I love about it is so easy to use that I just turn the students loose on it. So, I'll give them an activity that they're supposed to do on the table. It's got complete instructions in the lab, a paper, but then I tell them, play with this. Look at the different buttons, the different options that you have in this activity, and teach me something about it. And they have, because they're a lot more adventurous in clicking and dragging and doing all the things that you can do on the table. So I've learned a lot simply because I've turned them loose and let them teach me. So it's been great.
So you talk about talking about what it can do actually, and what are the features, its capabilities, because this thing is so high tech.
Mm-hmm. You can literally do anything. Basically what you have is when you open up the computer, open up the table, you have a virtual cadaver. And so you see this cadaver with skin on, and you're able to dissect, you're able to move this cadaver around so that you can see different aspects. You can dissect in different planes. You can put it all back together and start again. It's really been a good way for us to look at internal structures of the cadaver in all kinds of different orientations, so that you can see it from the top, you can see it from the side, you can see it from the bottom, you can see it at an angle. So it's just honestly, the possibilities are limitless, how you can look at a cadaver.
Reminds me of kind of like the onion. It's like about the personality. It's something that I've learned years ago when I was up at Easter, but how you peel the layers of an onion, and it seems like, every layer seems like it's always different. Mm-hmm. And the more and more you progress, the more you get down to the core. And I think it's the same way with this machine.
It is. And I'm glad you brought that up, because I kind of get excited about the dissection part, but you're able to peel back different layers that you can go, again, looking at the skin, down to muscle, down to the bone, down to internal organs, inside the organs. It's amazing. And so, yes, you can peel it back. And then probably my favorite feature is then that you reset everything And then the next student can do the very same thing, which is not possible with your traditional cadaver. Because with a traditional cadaver, once that cadaver has been dissected, no one else really has any work to do on it. So you pin structures, and of course, very valuable that students can come in and look at an actual body, okay, and see everything, but they're not really able to do anything else except look at it. So that reset button is awesome.
Just curious, you talk about reset. Do you do quizzes or tests on that thing, or?
We can. I have not used that feature to date.
Okay.
Just because we're still exploring how to use this in a lab setting, just as a lab activity. Find this, pin that. Another really awesome feature about it is that every time you look at the body, okay, you make a dissection, you also have the option to look at a CT scan. You can move through the layers of the CT scan. So x-rays, it's just, again, so many different ways to look at the body that traditionally you wouldn't have in a lab. You know, we are so fortunate that our district invested in our human anatomy and physiology laboratory.
So from an instructor's point of view, I know this has a lot of features and a lot of options, but do you have a favorite feature, and if so, why?
I think my favorite feature is that peel away, just because we don't often understand, because we're looking at living human beings. Yeah. We don't understand what is under the surface. So that's probably one of my favorites. But I also like the dissection, because then I can look at what we would call a sagittal section. I can look from the side and see how the organs are oriented in this particular body. And these are actual photographs of a real human body. It's just that they're photographs, and they're able to be put back together or dissected however we choose to. I can't even imagine, honestly, how long it took to put this database together. But being able to look inside is huge. It really opens up a person's mind and understanding of what's happening in the body. So,
one of my favorite features, because I was showing a demonstration of this back last fall, and that was how you could rotate the body around, and that way you could actually be able to, like, for example, maybe you want to look at a person's foot, maybe you want to look inside the bone structure of a foot, for example, or maybe the top of the head. You can just rotate it around. And first time you showed that, I was like, whoa, okay, that was pretty cool.
Right. Well, and that, again, I mean, you wouldn't be able to do that with a traditional cadaver. You can move it in any position you want to. It's hard to put into words what all you can do. You can, and in a touch of a finger, because it's all touch screen.
Yeah.
So this is not complicated. You don't have to type anything. You don't have to click anything. You just move the cursor around. You move the body around just by the touch of your hand. Just by dragging 3 fingers across the screen, you're moving through different layers. So yeah, it's just, again, the students love to just play with how they can move the body, look at the body, and then again, reset that body. So
we were talking before we started this. We had Kids in Motion come here over the course of the summer, and I showed you a photo, and we'll go ahead and display it up here. But it was me and Mr. Bones, my assistant, who didn't say much, but I remember how the kids, when they first saw the human cadaver machine, how they loved how they could touch. And I was talking about kinesiology was the focus of study, and they really got a kick out of it. Even one of the kids asked me, a couple of them anyway, asked, "Is Mr. Bones for real?" And he wasn't, but he was a great assistant. Again, didn't talk very much, but I thought it was neat how it's not just the college age who appeal to this, but even kids as young as they are.
And I think what you saw was the excitement of learning something, and I think that's another aspect that this brings to our classroom for college age, but also for kids coming up, that they're like, hey, we have this opportunity, in our town, in our backyard, in our community, that we could go to Frontier and access this really state-of-the-art technology. A lot of the four-year universities are starting to move towards virtual cadavers for the very reasons I'm talking about, and others. But that excitement is really what stimulates your learning. When you're engaged with something, when you see vivid colors, when you're able to do the activity right in front of you with your hands. I mean, honestly, everybody learns well hands-on. So when I can do something, when I can see it, when I can reset it and do it again, that's what stimulates my brain to learn more. And, that's what we're about out here at Frontier.
Yeah. Let's talk about the students here, because I know you kind of talked about the students a little bit and how they have been, getting a feel for it as well. And what has their feedback been like?
They want more. They want more time.
Figure that, yeah.
It's hard to get them away from it. I have to set a timer so that, because they work in small groups. Again, this is an 8-foot table. So it works well to have 2 to 4 people at a time at the table. So depending on the class size, I divide them into groups, small groups. I set a timer because they'll stay back there as long as I'll let them stay back there. And that way everyone gets a chance working with the cadaver. So they want more time, and again, they discover more and more of what to do with it. So they'll get through that lab activity, and before that timer goes off, they're already into other stuff, and I love it. And they do too, so.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm glad to hear the students, again, are getting that hands-on experience, because that's what it's about. It's about learning about, like, the skin, about the organs of the body. And also what I like, too, when you were doing that demonstration of always, if they were to point, and so they just tap on an organ, and you see the name of that pop up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just tap on it, it highlights it in white or whatever color you choose, and it gives the name, and then you tap outside of it, and the name's gone. So it's a very good tool to learn structures. Of course, we're always on the anatomy side, trying to learn those names, build our vocabulary, and use that table for quizzing each other, because then if we're working together, then I can tell you, click on the T2 vertebrae. And if you don't, you immediately know. So the feedback is immediate. So it's not a quiz that the instructor then has to grade and you've got to wait on your results. It's immediate, and they're in control, which, when you're in control of your own learning and you have this amazing tool in front of you, again, possibilities are limitless. So.
Nixie, is there anything else you want to mention about the human cadaver machine, the students, from an instructor's point of view, maybe even the technology with it in the future down the road? Anything else you want to add?
The only thing I would add is that the opportunity is here, and we are so excited. Our class sizes here at Frontier allow us to be able to use this technology that the district has invested in for each of our colleges. And that one-on-one work with the cadaver table, that one-on-one work with students, the one-on-one work with instructors is, I think, one of the biggest gifts that a student can receive. And we as instructors, we as a college can give, because it's so personal. That's what I love about working in my classroom, is it's so personal. I get to know people and really get to address some things that, maybe you are struggling with, so that when we're working on this table, we can really talk about, things that you need to work on, and you can, advance with the use of this technology. So it's a gift. It's a gift that the district has invested in.
Well, I know the focus has been on the human cadaver machine and what it could do. Again, it's awesome. It's incredible. But you also serve as athletic director as well. And I know that we're currently right now in the month of February, and so still in the middle of winter. But baseball, softball seasons, they're starting up soon. We also have a few volleyball matches coming up as well. So if someone would like to know more information about like the schedules, the rosters, how can they access that information?
Online, you can go to fccbobcats.com. You'll find all of our schedules. You'll find the rosters, all kinds of information, some news about what they're doing currently. We are currently in season for all three. Softball and baseball are in their championship seasons, which means this is their season to compete for postseason. And baseball goes on the road down to Alabama on February 10th. And then softball has their first game, I believe, down in Mississippi, and that will be February 24th. So, but you'll be able to go online at that website, fccbobcats.com, to find their schedules. Volleyball we don't have any matches until later in March, but we're practicing. And anyway, we're excited to have everybody going. So,
and also we encourage folks to wear their yellow and black, support the Bobcats. The Bobcats baseball team plays at home here at FNB Field. Meanwhile, Bobcats softball, they play at Southwest Park at home, and then volleyball playing at Center Street.
Yes, volleyball will only have one home match. We're allowed 4 tournaments or matches in the spring, and so we travel for 3 and then we end at home, and it's always a good ending to have everybody here and everybody ending their season at Center Street. So.
All right, well, thanks very much, Nixie. Appreciate it. Thanks for watching this edition of the Bobcat Buzz podcast, where we talk about the buzz of Frontier Community College, where we shine the spotlight on instructors, the programs that we have out here, as well as future events coming up as well. I'm Derek Dunn, your host. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks for watching.